Many people say the future is here, it's just unevenly distributed. And one of the places globally where the future is happening is Norway. We're here at CC West, Audi's largest car dealership in this country, and I'm here with Jacob Schram. Jacob, you've made very interesting points on this subject and you've been working on this deeply, for some time. Where is the world as far as mobility is concerned?
We are moving towards what we call the second inflection point of mobility. And what is that? Well, first, to understand that, you have to understand what is the first inflection point. And the first inflection point was really when we went from horses to cars. And that happened in 20 years, from around 1900 to 1920. So the shift was really big, going from steam to engine, etc. I think what we are approaching now on the second inflection points is exactly the same. And I think the world will change as fast and maybe on more dimensions.
What do you think the opportunities are, just thinking about big picture?
The new mobility will change society. If you really see the forces behind it, one thing is governmentals, etc., that really want it to happen because there's massive money that you can earn in the society for everyone. But the customer wants it as well. If you see what's the benefit for people, you will have less accidents when you have autonomous cars, you will have less death. There's over 1 million people dying every year in traffic. And in addition, you have all the accidents, cost a fortune for the society. There's a lot of congestion. In Beijing, people are using, on average, 1.5 hours, approximately 1.5 hours in congestion every day. What can you do? How much more can the society be productive if you free up that time?
What's the other sort of factor that we have here? And I'm thinking of, China, really, Jacob, in terms of, what impact will China have on this second inflection point, do you think?
They decided a specific goal in 2025 that 1 out of 5 cars in China shall be electrified. And I believe they will do it, simply because they are so determined to do it. They also have a charging infrastructure that is going to be built out hugely. They have much more chargers now than any other country, and they will need much more chargers in the future. But also from the fact that most cars in the world are sold in China. Previously it was in the US, but now it's approximately 30 million light vehicles every year sold in China.
And OEMs like VW, we're here at the Audi dealership, they have to think about that huge market, don't they? They can't ignore the Chinese market. It has to be the first thing they think about.
That's right. They can't ignore it. Not any international car producer can ignore it. And that's why this will happen in all the known brands. But also interesting in China is that they have a lot of new car brands coming out that they will push into Europe, which will kind of make this business quite new in a way from a car point of view.
How is the US positioned? Which aces do they hold?
I think the biggest aces that the US holds is that they are a country with massive capital. That's the biggest advantage of US. You will see a lot of top-down technology, new ways of thinking coming from US, and there will be capital there to back it up.
And what about the EU in terms of the advantages that it holds in this space?
The strength of EU is actually the diversity with the 28 countries, with a very long history, with a lot of medieval cities, etc. Mobility will have to see very different solutions all over Europe. That means that you will see development happening in a lot of pockets within mobility. But when Europeans get things, a solution for a certain part, they're pretty good at scaling it globally.
So we've been talking about the big picture for the world in terms of this second inflection point, Jacob. But what about for the sector that we've both been working in for many years, the convenience and fuel sector? What's going to be the impact for us?
The really big inflection point is not trying to estimate what loss of fuel you will have. I actually think that is wasted time for a lot of the executives. Find out what is the year you believe will be price parity between ICEs and EVs, because the year of price parity, or the period of price parity between those two, will be the point where you get the catch-up effect. And that's when you need to have a plan towards the stock market.
Now, Norway is the place to come to see this happening, isn't it?
It is.
And, you know, here at the Audi dealership in CC West, I see lots of smiling salesmen.
Yeah.
Because the way they sell cars is changing.
It is. And I mean, it's fascinating and a little bit scary, I have to say. If you take the car behind us, actually, Audi e-tron, and I know that because I'm in the board of this company. Normally, we know car sellers as quite pushy sellers, that it's a kind of a termination being a car seller, then you're a pretty good salesman. But with Audi e-tron, and you're seeing that on several other cars as well, they just opened a web page, and you could sign up. But not only you could sign up, you had to pay to stand in a queue. And that queue was over 5,000 people. So having a product as a salesman, you don't need to sell it. It sells itself. I mean, that tells me everything. Consumers want this.
It's an astonishing future, which is happening now here in Norway, Jacob. And I'd like to thank Audi CC West for hosting this today and for your time. Thanks very much.
Thank you.